everyone, I'm Jody and welcome to my channel, and today welcome to summer cleanup. I know you didn't probably realize what you were signing up for when you hit play today, but you know, I got to thinking we are women and this is real life. Sometimes we have to go through and clean out makeup, clean out foundations because we have too many of them, and then mascaras, lipsticks, and then there's eyeshadow palettes. So today we are going to go through and we're going to decide which eyeshadow palettes we have to have, which eyeshadow palettes we'd like to have, and which eyeshadow palettes we absolutely can live without. And then off camera I will revisit the middle pile of the I'd like to have, and I will absolutely keep the must have. By no means am I a hoarder, but I do like my eyeshadow palettes because it's like that, you never know that one day you may need that dark green emerald sparkly eyeshadow, and by golly, you want to have it. You know, there's that one time that you may use it. So that's the question that I'm going to ask myself today is, has that one time that you need to use it shown up in the last 365 days? And I cannot use, well, we haven't really been going out as much because of COVID, as an excuse. I have to have a hard line with this. And if you guys have a makeup collection somewhere that's getting out of control, then hey, put me on play in the background and let's do some summer cleaning together. So if you're ready, let's just go through these palettes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. There's 23 of them. Yeah. And I have 2 eyes and they're 7 days a week. So yeah, we have some work to do. So in no particular order, let's just dive into it. And I think we should start with the Tom Ford because this is the Tom Ford. I'm laughing as I'm saying this because I've never even worn this one. This is the Tom Ford Smoky Quartz. But I am putting together, see, here go the excuse, and we're only on the first palette, but I am doing a tutorial on my entire Tom Ford collection, so therefore this one cannot go yet because we need it for that video. Okay, so we're gonna put this in the must keep pile. Okay, that pile will go right over there. Next is Dior, and I just recently did a tutorial on this one, and I love it because it's all mattes, and this is the Dior Touch 507, I think. I mean, look at those. Those are just such beautiful, pretty matte colors. And they are nice springy summer, but I don't know that I need it. So we're gonna put this in the nice to have pile, okay? We're 1 and 1. Next is, this is a big Nars palette, and this is their Make Up Your Mind. That's cute. I don't even know how old this is. For eyeshadow, they say you should throw it out after a year. So this one I know is way past that limit. You guys probably remember this palette. It's huge, as most Nars palettes are when it's a collection. The reason I originally purchased this, I remember exactly when I purchased it. It was because I thought it would be good for travel because it has a bronzer in it. It's got your highlight, it's got some eyeshadows. The reality of it is it just became too big to go in travel stuff. So as much as I loved it, and I say I loved it, but I don't know that I used it that much. Anybody else have this palette and you know, do you remember when you might have bought it? I'm pretty sure it's 2 years old. So that will go in the We Do Not Need You Anymore Nars palette. Okay, all right, I'm doing fine. Okay, it's no problem, no problem. The next one is the Kylie Jenner Pressed palette. And there's a total of 9 colors. 6 of them are matte, which I loved about this palette, but this is one that I've got similar colors like that, especially some of those transition colors in other palettes. So this one is probably also close to 2 years old. So this will join our do not need pile. Okay, next up is Blush Crush from ColourPop. This is gonna be, I love this one. It does not have a mirror, but that's not a strike against it, especially for the price point. And the reason I love this one is because A, I love doing tutorials with this one for you guys because it has a lot of warm, rosy colors in it. It's pretty shimmery in this highlight color. This one and this one are not too shiny shimmery. There's some nice colors in here overall that I just like for a little bit of touch. I like to use that center one just to go on the center of my eye if I just need a quick shimmer but I don't want glitter. That's what I use this one for. And I do like to use this Made to Blush color for blush. So I'm gonna keep this ColourPop one, and really the colors in this are not unlike. Clearly I have a color preference in the types of colors that I get because there's not too many color differences between those 2 palettes. So yeah, we're gonna keep the ColourPop. I don't need another palette with a mirror in it. So ColourPop is gonna join Tom Ford. and go over there. The next ColourPop is by the Rosé. This one is fairly new. I think I got this spring. You guys probably, a lot of you probably have the same palette. And I want to put it next to Blush Crush just in case you are looking at one of these ColourPops. This one, the Blush Crush, is definitely smaller, it looks like, in terms of the colors. The same colors almost exist between the two, and I don't think there was a different price point in these. This Lovesick and Picnic Basket are pretty much the same colors. I'd say almost exactly the same color. And this Sparkling is almost the exact same color as this Papa Bottle. Is that what it's called, Papa Bottle? Yeah. This Cheek to Cheek is really close to this Sunday Soiree. So if you have one of these palettes, I don't think you necessarily need the other one. But if you're trying to decide between the two, I would go with By the Rosé because the colors are bigger, so it looks like you get more product. Next is Chanel. This is their Healthy Glow in Warm. We're not getting rid of this one. I love this palette. I reach for it a lot. I just cannot get rid of it, so it is saved by its usage. Well, that's not true. I probably would save it anyway because it has Chanel on it and I love my Chanel products. Next up is Urban Decay, and this is the Naked Sin. And now that I look at that, you guys, the colors are not unlike Blush Crush by ColourPop. So again, if you like those rosy, peach, warmer colors, then, you know, the color, they're pretty similar. Out of the 6 in this Naked palette though, there's only 2 that are really matte. And in this palette of 9 from ColourPop, 4 are matte. So you kind of have to decide which one if you want more mattes or more shimmer. As I age and my eyelids look a little bit older, I go more with the mattes than the shine or shimmer or frosted. All right, it feels like it's about 100 degrees in here, and I'm sure it's not because I know the AC is on downstairs, but oof, it is hot. The next one is KKW Beauty. This is 10 colors. Yeah, 10 colors altogether. The more shimmery color started to kind of fall out, so I didn't love that about it. This is an easy one for me to get rid of because, again, when I'm looking at these colors, clearly I was in a stage of wanting, I think these are probably older than 2 years old because I think I was in this phase of wanting the perfect transition color. And when I look at these palettes, it's almost as if every one of them have what I would have at the time deemed, oh, that's the perfect transition color. Not really even sure what I needed a transition color for until I started taking classes. Now I get it. So, and I love this kind of this nude bone look, which I'd have put right up there. So this was a nice palette at the time. It's like the others. So yeah, there's just gonna be a little graveyard over here. Naked 2, Urban Decay. This is a classic. I definitely need to keep this one because those are all mattes that you can use for such a variety of looks. So if you like a no makeup look, and from light skin, medium skin, olive skin, and dark skin, I think this is a nice complementary, universally friendly palette for that no makeup look. So to me, this is a must-have for almost everyone in their collection. Not a collection, we don't keep makeup collections, it's just what we have at the time. All right, next we're reaching back for another Nars, and this is Nars Hot Nights. This must have been from maybe 2 summers ago. I'm gonna be embarrassed because some of these are probably 2 or 3 years old. But yeah, that's right, we're being honest with ourselves, so it's all good. This one has and I know why I bought it because it has the famous Laguna powder bronzer in it, but now I use cream bronzer. And look, that was not on cue, but this highlight one that I used a lot at some point is now coming out. So that just helps that decision. I'm gonna hold it up, see if I can keep that from happening again. But this palette was really nice to have because it had the highlight that you needed, it had the bronzer that you needed, and then this really dark, deep purple color was just absolutely stunning. They're all very, very frosted though, so I wouldn't wear any of these eyeshadows. I would probably bronze a little bit maybe with this color if I wanted like that goldy bronze color in the summertime. You know, sometimes you just see those pictures and they're just very bronze, but shiny bronze. That would probably be good for that one time when I might want to have a very bronze shiny look. I just answered my own question. Okay, that's gonna go in the do not need pile. Okay. This one is a very new palette to me. This is the BK Beauty True Beauty palette, and I'm definitely going to keep this one because I created a fun look with it the other day. I've just recently used it, and that's why I'm going to keep it. Because of the 12 colors on the palette, it's almost split, if I remember correctly, 50-50 between mattes and shimmers. And, you know, I don't know that I would use that purple, but I don't have that purple in any other palette other than the new Anastasia palette. I hope I'm not lying. I guess we'll see as we work our way through the other remaining palettes, but that is just a really pretty color. And I do wear lavender from time to time, so to have just somewhere where I can have a touch of that is probably a good reason to keep that. The other thing I love about this palette is this dark burgundy color. It's called Dream. It has gold, make sure I'm not getting this on the carpet. It has gold. Yeah, oh, that's just so pretty. Dark, it's called Dream. It's almost like a dark midnight purple is what it reminds me of, and it has just a little bit of gold shimmer. It's not black, and that's what I love about it, is if you have light hair and lighter skin, then black can just look so harsh unless you're doing a very elegant smoky eye type look. So the fact that this is more of a deep purple is perfect. So now that I just stuck my finger in it, but yeah, keeping this palette for sure from BK Beauty. That goes in the keep pile. So now let's talk about the Anastasia of Beverly Hills. Now, what I don't know is, and many of us have more than one of her palettes, and I don't know why I could not find them, because I know I've got at least 2 of them. Unless I threw them away because of the cover of those, you guys, if you have those palettes, you know what I mean. They're like a velvet velour material, and they just get so dirty that now I'm remembering, I think I threw them away. Beautiful eyeshadow colors, but the outside of those palettes got so dirty, I just couldn't. So this one does not do that. This is her new Novu palette, and I love this palette. I did a tutorial with this one. Many of you guys have this palette and love it as well, and wouldn't you know, it has a few really pretty transition colors in it, like every other palette that I seem to have owned. Some of them, there are those 3 colors on here that you're not supposed to put near your eyes, and the more research I did on that, if you do have this palette, what that means is that there's pigmentation in those specific colors that the FDA has not reviewed to approve or deny. So it doesn't mean that there's harmful pigments in those colors. It just means that they have not been put in front of the FDA to approve them. So the manufacturer and the company just said, then we have to advise to not put it near your eye. So it's important to know that when you're looking at this palette. Just make sure you're aware of which colors those are. And I think it's the Palom, Wisteria, and Metro, if I'm not mistaken, from when I did that tutorial. But there's some very pretty dark blue, and that dark green is gorgeous. So there might be a time, that one time at Bandcamp, there might be that one time where I'm gonna need this palette. So, and it's so new, I just don't want to get rid of that one yet. Okay, Viseart. Viseart has I think I have another one from Viseart, yeah. Viseart has very nice palettes. This one I bought because it was small, and I thought, that is just a good palette to have. It does have a little mirror. It's small. It's about the size of a credit card, a little thicker, but about that size, which I love that because I do take this one to travel. It has a nice little magnetic clip right here, and this is their Pro Midsummer, I believe it is. Is it Midsummer? Yeah, Midsummer. And surprise, surprise, there we go again with those purple and the transition shades. So yeah, that is just like every other palette I've got. What was I thinking? And this one, not only is it handy for travel, but if I go to look at those colors, this purple right here is probably another reason that I kept this palette. It's a really pretty light purple. I don't usually wear purple-ish colors, but Viseart eyeshadows are of very good quality, and I believe this small pack was a good price point. I think I probably got it on Beautylish.com. So if you're looking for a small palette, they did have other options in terms of colors. If you didn't like those more cool colors, then I would definitely check this out because they're easy to throw in your bag. They do have a mirror. They stay closed because of that magnetic piece, and this is a keeper for sure. The next palette is also from Viseart. This is their neutral matte palette. They're all mattes, obviously. Is there 12? Yeah. There's 12 mattes in there that go the gamut of color ranges, more on the warm to neutral shades, which is probably why I bought this. I mean, there's, transition colors there, which I must have thought, oh, I need more transition colors. But it goes from this light color all the way up to that very dark color. And again, because they're all mattes, you can come up with a lot of different looks for this and then just put a little pop of shimmer from that color pop, and you've got a lot of different looks that you can create. So I have loved this one. I believe I got this on Beautylish also, which is because that's typically where I buy my Viseart products. And very quality eyeshadow. The thing I love about Viseart is their quality is just as good as your very high-end department store eyeshadows. They blend as good, if not better, but they're not flashy. Like they don't spend a ton of money in flashy, compact and materials and packaging. And so I can appreciate that because I'd rather the money go into the product. They just spend money reinvesting into the quality of their products. And that has been true for any Viseart cosmetic that I've ever purchased. So if you're looking for a lot of nice neutral mattes, cannot go wrong with this palette. So I think we've just decided where that one's gonna go. Yeah, we're not doing so well. I don't know if you guys are keeping score at home, but of the 15 so far that we have looked at, we're keeping 8 and we are discarding 4, and there are 3 in the maybe pile. So we're not making a ton of progress. I'm gonna get much more disciplined with this remaining 8, except for this one, because this one I can't do it. I cannot do it. If you've ever tried a eyeshadow or any brushes or anything from Surratt, S-U-R-R-A-T-T, I mean, it's magical. It's like when you get an ice cream sundae and the hot fudge is so delicious that you want to take another bite and another bite, and you feel like you've had something really special because there was sprinkles and nuts and a cherry on top. This brand, it's out of Japan, and they are such high quality that it puts some of these higher end eyeshadows truly to shame. When you talk about a buttery, melty, blendable shadow that has zero fallout and the pigment is gorgeous and it just looks stunning from hour 1 to hour 4 to hour 6, that is this palette. This palette specifically was a collaboration with Beautylish, so I'm not even sure if it's still available, but the colors are very pretty. There's a little tiny bit of shimmer. They're not matte, but they're very there's just the smallest amount of glimmer in it. And I actually like to use this light pink one. I mean, they're so finely milled that it rubs on like a cream. If you've tried the, you know what I'm gonna say, the Stila Kitten, how smooth that is, it feels like satin. That is how creamy these feel, and they just go on so nice and smooth and buttery. This is the palette that I will reach for if I just wanna feel extra special, if it's a special night out and you're like, I just wanna have my really best of the best. That's what I reach for. I believe this palette was $110 for four colors that, you know, when you put them all together, they don't look that different from one another, but I love this palette. Thank goodness I'm not stranded on a deserted island, but if I were and I could only take one eyeshadow palette. Now, if I hear my husband in my ear asking me a million questions, because whenever I ask him if he was on a deserted island and he can only take one of anything, then the questions start coming. He's a Virgo, so you guys know what I mean. He's like, well, am I the only one on the island? What's the temperature on the island? Let's just skip that and go right to, if you can only take one eyeshadow palette with you, I'm so loyal to some of these brands. I think it would be this one. I think it would be this one, because if I'm on a deserted island, I don't need to have a bunch of glam. I don't need 15 different colors because I don't have a lot of wardrobe. I don't have a lot of different clothes to wear. So some neutral colors will get me by every day, and I'll just feel really special for nobody because nobody will be on the island with me. But that's a keeper. That's on the top pile. All right, now we're gonna go into, I feel like we're going into the Throwback Thursday with this one, but a lot of us have this palette, and it's a good palette, and that is the Too Faced, Born This Way, the Natural Nudes. And it comes with that mirror. It's that tall, same long palette like the Urban Decay Naked palettes. It's similar to the Anastasia palette. It's a little bit larger than that. But most of us have this palette, and it's a nice palette. It has a nice big mirror in it. And I remember when I bought this palette, the reason I liked it was because the shimmer color was a smaller of the section. So the longer strips are your matte colors, and then you've got that shimmer color down below or up above, depending. But I loved the variety of colors. Again, they're more neutral and nudes, which is why they call it the Neutral Nude palette. But I thought you could create a lot of nice looks with this, and I do reach for it, but I don't reach for it as much as I thought I would, and it's probably because I have 15 other palettes that have similar colors. It's just the perfect neutral. So actually, you know what, let's do this. Let's put this up against the Too Faced Neutral Matte. I just purchased this one recently at Nordstrom. This may be an older palette. I just had not seen it before. This is it's a gorgeous palette. It's not plasticky feeling at all. It feels very heavy and luxurious. It's a little bit taller than that Too Faced palette. It's, you know, a little bit thicker, but it doesn't have as many colors. So this one there's 16 colors in this palette and 9 colors in this palette. Now this one is all matte, where this one does have that 8 of those colors in a more shimmer color if you just want to pop a color in the center. But overall, and they both claim to be natural or neutral nude. So those 2 cream colors on the edge are very similar. And you can see the darker colors on this side are also very similar. This one's probably a little bit more versatile, but the colors are just so similar. All right, I'm gonna have to let this one go because I've had it for a long time and I do not reach for it. And so I'm gonna have to keep this one. I mean, if you look at it next to that BK Beauty palette, those are very similar colors also. Okay, well, let's just put this on pause for a minute because I just purchased it and I think I'm really in love with it. But we're gonna put it in the medium. We're gonna put it in the we're gonna think about it pile. Because otherwise this has accomplished nothing other than me moving my eyeshadow palettes around. And I know there's some coming up that I'm absolutely gonna keep, so I'm not making good progress here. So next up is the Tarte Clay Play palette. And I do remember buying this because, let me find something just to cover up that mirror. It does have a full mirror on it. It's a little bit bigger than the Too Faced in terms of height. It's the same length, it's just a little taller. So it does fit in nicely with a lot of the other palettes. I do like that about it. It has a large mirror in it. I'm just gonna cover that up so I don't blind you guys. This KKW is good for that. And I remember the reason I purchased this at the time was because it had highlighter, it had blush, and it had bronzer all in the same palette. It also had some shimmer, shine colors, and a few mattes. Of the 9 eyeshadows, 6 are matte. So I do love that about this palette. It's handy to travel with. You don't need a lot of different things. The thing I've found though, and leave me a comment if you guys are the same, I buy these palettes thinking I'm going to travel with them. The Charlotte Tilbury one is another one that I don't even have out here. That I think, oh, perfect. It's got my bronzer, it's got my highlighter, and it's got my blush all in one. I don't need to carry a lot of stuff. And then inevitably, when I'm traveling, I wish I had a different blush. So I love the idea of that. I think I need a palette that has a few blushes in it, as well as a few eyeshadows versus a lot of eyeshadows and maybe 1 or 2 blushes. And then the palette's gonna be the size of a dinner plate, I'm sure. So that's probably why they don't do that. But I'm gonna have to let this Tarte one go. Nothing wrong with Tarte. I just have found that sometimes their colors can be a little bit more difficult to blend out, whether you use a primer or not. So there's just a few reasons I don't reach for this one as much. So I'm gonna put that in the I don't need that one anymore. All right, this one is gonna hurt my heart a little bit, and it's because I have colors like it already, and that is the Wayne Goss eyeshadow palette that this is the Bridal Palette. I did my own makeup for my wedding back in October. I used this eyeshadow palette because he said that's what inspired him to make this, was bridal makeup. So I thought, oh, well then I must wear it as I'm a bride. And it is the Pearl, the luxury eye palette in Pearl. And it has it's a really nice, luxurious feeling eye palette. It has a full mirror on top. And the thing I have to say is we left Aspen and went straight to Mexico, and it was so hot and humid in Mexico that by the 3rd day we were there, this color it turned to like a gel, and it clumped together. I couldn't use it. I had to take the whole section out. I wouldn't have used it anyway because it was more big goldy flakes that I wouldn't have worn. It was just a bummer that formulation didn't work well in humidity, and I didn't leave it in the heat. I left it in our room that had air conditioning. I mean, the colors are beautiful, and yeah, they are slightly different than some of these other shades. So I'm gonna have to put this in the maybe pile. I mean, it's Wayne Goss, and I just love Wayne Goss, so I don't think I can get rid of it. It was my first Wayne Goss purchase, so I feel like there's like nostalgia there. And yeah, he's a YouTuber, so I feel like, you know, Wayne and I are like this. He's my friend, at least like we're friends on Instagram. So does that kind of make us friends in this new world of virtual reality? Yeah, I gotta keep it. He's my boy. Okay, next, oh, this one, you guys, I'm almost embarrassed to show you, and I blame Tati Westbrook in her videos for me buying this, and I'm embarrassed to even say, but I feel compelled because it'll help with me, you know, purge this whole palette. This was a $200 palette that I remember waiting weeks, if not months for, and this was the Natasha Denona palette. This is when she first started. It's a plastic palette. It's white, which I loved. It just looked so clean, and I thought, oh, I love that. And when Tati did a tutorial or something on it, it was the first Natasha Denona I had ever seen, and I was like, oh, I must have that. And so it has a beautiful big mirror in it like the other ones. I mean, but look. I mean, look at those colors. I mean, you guys get it? See, you can see, you totally can see why I've held on to this far too long. So if anybody knows when this palette first came out, if you also have it, please leave me a comment below, because truth be told is I'm strong right now in front of all of you, and this will go in the discard pile. But I don't know that I can do it. I will probably grab it out of the pile before the pile gets sent somewhere, because, I mean, it's Natasha Denona, first of all. See, I knew this was going to happen. But these are just so, I mean, that gold color is just, I mean, this is that palette that you're like, one day I am going to need to wear that blue eyeshadow for something. I don't know what it's going to be, and I don't know when it's going to be, but when the time comes, I want to be sure that I am ready, and I am ready. So, okay, I'm gonna set it aside. It's gonna go in the I can't decide yet palette. This is not going as well as I thought it would. Okay, next we are gonna go with this one, and we're gonna make these next two pretty easy because they're Natasha Denona, and it's the Retro palette, and it's the Glam palette, and there's no need to throw these away. First of all, they're gorgeous. The palettes themselves are gorgeous. They're in a hard plastic, so if they get dirty, you can easily wash them off, which I love. The size of them are perfect to go into wherever you keep your eyeshadow palettes. They're tall and slender, so they can go in different makeup holders. They're flat, they can go in makeup drawers. The design of these are perfect. Everything about them are perfect. They're a good quality, they're a great quality eyeshadow. This is that Glam palette I have referred to you guys before. I mean, if you only were gonna purchase one palette, then one of these two, either the Glam palette or this Retro palette, depending on if you're more warm or not. Oh, I left the cover in this one. That's smart. That makes it a lot easier. This Retro palette is just beautiful. If you wear a lot of those roses, some of those burgundy mauve colors, this is a great one to have. If you're more on the neutral side, then this Glam palette is probably a better option for you. These are about $52 if I'm not mistaken. They're just very universally flattering. There's a nice mix of mattes and shimmer eyeshadows in here, and you can create a lot of different looks with these. The other thing I love about Natasha Denona eyeshadows, and it's not unlike some of the other ones, I think almost every eyeshadow palette now you can do this. If you get an eyeliner brush and you dampen it with either water or a setting spray, it makes a very beautiful eyeliner either on the top or the bottom of the lashes. You can also put a setting spray on top of your eye makeup brush into those glitter colors and really transfer that full shimmer look from the palette onto your eyelid. So, and I have to do that in about 2 or 3 steps if you really want your eyelid to be beautifully glittered like some of these palettes. It does take, you know, 2 or 3 layers with a moistened makeup brush with setting spray on it to get that look, so don't get discouraged. But if you are gonna wear that type of a look, you want a more quality eyeshadow palette. Otherwise that glitter just starts to transfer underneath your eyes before you have even left the house. And if you wear glasses, it's just really gonna magnify any of that fallout. So if you do like a nice glam look from time to time, I don't think you can go wrong with one of these palettes. And so we did good. We did good. We got rid of 1, 2, 3, 4 solid. That's a solid achievement. And we're keeping for the maybe pile, that Kim K was just to hold out the light. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope. So out of 23, we're keeping 11. So we cut half out. That's outstanding. I feel very accomplished by that. So, you know, this Natasha Denona one that I'm struggling with, I'm going to hang on to it so long that it's going to be vintage. It's one of those things I'm gonna pass down to my stepdaughter who is 17, and there will come a day when she's gonna be like, oh my God, Jody, I'm so glad you kept that palette. Said no one ever. But you know, I may just wear that blue someday, or the gray, or that green. I mean, today's the day. Today is the day. Look, I'm using it. Okay, there it is. So we are gonna use this palette. So decision has been made. We will keep Natasha Denona until the next cleaning go round. I'm not sure how this is looking on camera. I do not have a mirror behind me or behind you guys. I just have the camera thing. So that's probably a nice place to end the video, because who knows what the heck I'm gonna look like, and you guys aren't gonna be able to understand a thing I'm saying because you're laughing at my makeup look. All right, so there we go. We did some cleaning. I'm glad you guys joined me on this journey, and yeah, I probably need to do the same process with lipsticks and concealers. What do you guys have that you really need to say, all right, I need to get a hold of that collection and clean? Is it concealers? Is it mascaras? That's probably a good one. Is it lipsticks? I throw those out pretty regularly because they start to get that smell to them. So that one's an easy one for me. Blushes. Do you have a blush collection maybe? Let me know in the comments below which product you have the most of that you would benefit from this fun exercise. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.